Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to this week's edition of Mods Worth Noting. I'm going to cover 2 weeks of mods because I was unable to do a Mods Worth Noting last time, so let's get into it. So Real-Time Sync by FSG Modding and FSG Devar is really an interesting one, and one I hope actually that maybe we'll get in FSN at some point because it can eliminate manual syncing and it will also keep things more in line. So it synchronizes the game to real time on single player and multiplayer servers. The only challenge, for example, though, with perhaps using it with something like FSN is if it's ahead, it's going to slow down until it matches. And if the game is behind, it'll auto fast forward until it matches. So that would be great, but the slowing down might be a problem, but I don't know how long it slows down for. The other nice thing is you can adjust the sunrise and the sunset times per season. So for anyone that needs something that syncs with real time, I do think this is actually a really neat and powerful mod. So this is just a cute little fun mod by Viper GTS 96. Again, as some of these are, it's for the PC only. Nitro Boost just gives you exactly that, where you'll hold the spacebar and you'll get a nitro boost that moves you along quicker for a short period of time. If you play with bunker silos, bunker silo utilities may be something that will add some capabilities that the base game doesn't have. The silo can be closed again after it has been opened so that it doesn't get wet when it rains. If the silo is not finished fermenting, it can be opened again so that it can be filled further. It can be emptied completely, and it can be covered with different silo tarps. So these are pretty simple, placeable floodlight poles. There's 5 different varieties, and the nice thing is they can be switched on and off separately with a light switch. And here you've got an example of the 5 different varieties. So we've got one of my favorite things, new productions. So Juice Factory by Fra Cassis Modding can produce grape and tomato juice. And per the typical setup, you not only get the factory, which has that capability, but you also get a new sales station so that you can sell it. So this is another cute, simple thing that can add some realism to your game. Speed display. It shows the current speed of a vehicle driving by. It caps it at 99 miles per hour, so if you've got something that can go faster, that won't work. You can also configure a speed limit so that if someone who's going faster, it turns red, otherwise it stays green. And lastly, they've noted it can be placed on non-buyable ground, so you don't have to go ahead and own something to place it, which allows you to put it around your map along roads and so forth. So a mod for multiplayer servers, Anti-AFK, removes idle players from your game. So if you've got a rule that someone can't just stay logged into the server all day, if they have no input detected for 15 minutes, from either keyboard, mouse, or gamepad, they'll be disconnected. And you can see here, it gets a warning. I don't know if it's the only warning, but this is the screenshot they show. Looks like you're AFK, leaving in 10 seconds. EY Modding has released another small, older tractor, the John Deere 4320. It's a really nice looking model. So if you're looking for something a little bit older, $40,000 is the base price for a tractor that's a little over 100 horsepower. Check it out. So I guess I'd classify this again as another realism mod. Dynamic hyperspeed. It allows the reel from the cutter to dynamically adjust to the travel speed. And you just adjust a factor that appears in the game settings for better harvesting results. Buyable special round bales allows you to buy bales for products that you normally would have to make through some multi-step processes, TMR, chaff, sugar beet cut, and silage. So it allows you to use those materials in the game without having to go ahead and go through the process of creating them. So if you're interested in that, take a look at this. This one definitely caught my eye just because it's unique. Recovery rope is similar to, in the US, we've got a brand here called Yankum Ropes that I've seen several kind of farmers use to pull things out and so forth that have some good strength. This simulates that to some degree. Be aware it does say if you're using this with manual attach, the rope may become invisible. This one may have limited applicability, but at least wanted to share it so you know it's out there and you can decide if you're going to work with it or not. but Force Time Challenge locks your game into 5x time and 2 days per month. You can go and change code, obviously, if you want to lock it to something else, but what it does is just kind of stick your game in a certain time and you can't fast forward and so forth. So the mod author is suggesting it will give you more challenge in Farming Simulator. Mainly, I suppose, if you're playing in single player, because you need to wait for the time to go forward if nothing's happening and leave your game running to go ahead and do that. This one definitely falls into one of those mods that you didn't know you needed, but when you see it, it's like, well, yeah, this is actually a cool idea. So it's called Shop Extension, and all it does is when you're in the shop screen, where you can normally just fly around and view the outside of the vehicle, it lets you get inside and see the indoor camera and also check the engine sound. So you can see here, similar to, if you were buying this vehicle in real life, you'd get into the tractor, you'd want to see where the controls are and so forth. This lets you do that before you go ahead and make a purchase. Peppy84 created a simple mod, Extended Game Info Display, that basically gives you 2 new updates. It puts a year under the month, and it goes ahead and shows you and lets you see whether the temperature is rising or falling, or what range it's going to be in. So it says that, there's an indicator of whether it's falling, staying constant, or rising. So I'm assuming this thermometer is showing right now it's staying constant, but you can see that this is the min-max temperature of the day. So nice little mod to greenhouses here. Instead of having a building, it's open gardens, which just lets you plant a small or a large greenhouse in effect. It still just produces tomatoes, lettuce, and strawberries, but it allows for reduced spacing between plants and increased production in a smaller area, and you can place the garden with or without trunks around the edging. If you're a player who enjoys forestry, Forestry Sell Point might be what you're looking for. It gives you a way to automatically sell logs and pallets of material. And along with that, for further forestry enhancement, is wood storage that lets you store logs with a winch in this location. The ORZ300A is a very basic sprayer configuration for small farm operations, has a 300-liter capacity, 8-meter working width, and just costs $1,450. So adding to the immersion within the game, Placeable Wall Lights is a mod that gives you different designs of wall lights to go ahead and place on buildings. And it also has what they're calling placement helpers, which are just cubes that you can place and then sell that don't cost anything, to allow you to adjust the height. So you'd put the placement helper in place, it would raise the light up a little bit when you went ahead and placed it, and then you just sell it later, but the light's already mounted to your building at the height you want. So Fuel Barrel is another one of those things. Inexpensive, might be useful for something like a survival challenge that you're doing. Costs just $130, carries 250 liters, but allows you to get fuel out to the field, for example. So this is a cute add-on by Omatana Restaurant. It's not a production building, it's a sell point, so you can sell grain in bulk and various products. But if you're doing a role-playing game, it has some features inside where there's a friendly waitress. So here she is. If you click on her, she'll say hello. And the plates are movable as well. So again, if you're doing a role-playing game and want to include something like that within it, here's this option that you might want to check out. This one was interesting. Dynamic Crushable Rocks Pack. Lets you buy rocks very inexpensively. They're $100 each. You can see kind of some of the different configurations and so forth. And they're able to be crushed, and they are a fill type that's in the base game stone. So you can just put them in stone crushers as well if you want. So once again, perhaps a role-playing series or something that you're doing that you want to go ahead and throw some rocks around and deal with them in a unique way, this gives you that option. So this one was interesting. Lizard CB 750F 1975. It's a 1975 replica of a motorcycle. So if you're looking for that to tool around your map, here you go. And that will do it for this week's edition of Mods Worth Noting. Again, a little bit longer because I had a couple weeks to cover. Hopefully you've seen something you enjoy and want to check out. As always, the links are down below. And I will see you next time.